huge production from Deni Avdija. Dwayne, what have you seen from him so far this season?
Well, that's the biggest thing is what you want to see from a young player the next season. And we see all his numbers going up. So you look at a Portland team, they're trying to figure out what their future's like and who are they going to build with and around. So you see a young guy like this that's playing this way, all his numbers up all around the board, obviously scoring 25 plus a game. That's hard in the NBA.
His own team gave up on him. He was ranked 66th by ESPN's Top 100. 66. But in just one season, Deni proved everyone wrong. Today, he just carried a team to the playoffs. And now he's being mentioned with Jokic, Luka, and SGA. That's not supposed to happen. But how exactly did Deni do it? How did he turn around his entire career in just one season? Well, we've got all the answers. But to understand how he got here, you need to understand how close he came to never getting here at all. 2024. The Washington Wizards just came off to their worst record in franchise history with 15 wins. They got a promising young star by the name of Deni Avdija, who spent 4 years getting better and better. But Washington gave up on him. And on draft night, they traded him away. Gave him away for Malcolm Brogdon and a couple of first-round picks. And now, he just dropped 41 points, 7 rebounds, and 12 assists to drag Portland past Phoenix in the play-in and book a playoff spot. The same player Washington discarded. The same player the league couldn't figure out. The entire league slept on him. His own team turned his back on him. It's now up to Deni to prove to the world that he's that guy. And in Portland, he just did that. With one piece of advice, Deni became a different beast. Avdija was drafted 9th overall in 2020 by the Wizards. Top 10 pick, built like a Swiss Army knife. 6'8", two-way playmaking forward. The kind of prospect you build around. On paper, everything checked out. But Washington was a mess. Bradley Beal was the sun everything orbited around. The roster was aging. The direction was unclear, and young players got lost in the noise. Avdija's role was a constant source of frustration. Hard to pin down, hard to maximize, hard to trust. Year 1, fine. Year 2, fine. Year 3, buried. Year 4, he finally got a real runway, posting career highs across the board with 14.7 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3.8 assists on 51% from the field. Washington's impatience led them to trading Avdija. To be honest, no one really cared. Some thought the Wizards won the draft by getting former Rookie of the Year in Malcolm Brogdon. Oh boy, they were wrong. After former head coach Chauncey Billups instilled one idea to Deni's head that made him 10 times better. When Avdija landed in Portland, it wasn't a hero's welcome. He wasn't expected to become the face of the franchise when he got there. He's supposed to fit a role. Many questioned the general manager Joe Cronin for making an aggressive move to trade for Avdija, sending out valuable future draft capital for a player on a rebuilding roster with no playoff aspirations. When he came to Portland, it was hard for him to find his role. He had to find a new identity, his own words, not the media. And it showed in his numbers. 9.5 points on 34.6% shooting. For a top 10 pick in his 5th year in the league, the newest low in his career. But there's one exact moment that didn't just shift Deni's performance. It salvaged his entire career. Not a hot streak, not extra reps in the gym. One conversation with Chauncey Billups. In December 2024, Chauncey called Avdija in and stripped everything down to one thing. Grab the rebound and go. That's it. That's the whole speech. Chauncey came up with the idea that when I grabbed the rebound, it was my time. Just push it and go. And that's exactly what Deni did. All the confidence he lost, all the slump, disappeared. From a player who hesitated to shoot to becoming a boulder rolling down a mountain. 6'8" juggernaut. Too quick for forwards and too big for guards. Billups saw one thing in Deni that no one in the league allowed him to be. Not a power forward who just sits in the dunker spot. No, he's a point forward who needs space and permission. The moment the leash came off, the game opened up. The floodgates opened. But what exactly made Avdija different? What is it that Billups saw, that Washington saw for 4 years and still couldn't unlock? It's the position he actually plays versus the position everyone thought he played. On paper, Avdija is a wing forward. He's a point guard trapped in a 6'8" body. And once Portland let him operate like one, nothing made sense to defend anymore. Over an 8-game stretch to close out last season, he averaged 30 points, 7.5 assists, and 7 boards while shooting 53% from the floor. As a forward, in transition, running the break himself off his own rebounds. That's not a role player having a hot week. That's a player who figured out exactly who he was. Think of Ben Simmons, but with actual confidence to pull the trigger from essentially everywhere. Fans were complaining about the foul calls Deni gets, but how exactly would you guard a 6'8" forward with a full pack of steam with no other intention rather than getting that ball into the basket? Nobody on Portland roster came close to his 1.44 points per shot ratio. He was the team's best non-center in field goal percentage, and was second only to Toumani Camara in three-point percentage among regular rotation players. And he was doing it as a facilitator, a defender, and a rebounder simultaneously. The team suddenly revolved around him. By January, Avdija in transition had become the Blazers' biggest weapon, and his style became the template for how Portland wanted to play. Fast, aggressive, physical. And look, everything you just saw, that's the good part. That's the part that gets the highlights, the praise, the comparisons to all-time greats. But if Deni is really trying to enter that conversation, there's another side to this story that nobody wants to talk about. Deni went from the 66th best player in the league to becoming one of the best. He could easily be in the MVP conversations, but there's some things nobody wants to say out loud when a player's having this kind of season. Avdija still has real holes in his game, and the playoffs are exactly where those holes get exposed. Start with the three-point shot. He's improved, no question. He shot 37% from 3 in his final season in Washington, and that number has held in Portland. But held is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Because there are nights where he goes 2 for 12 from deep, still finding ways to get to 25 points off free throws and mid-range, but completely unreliable from the arc. Against a defense that respects his driving ability and dares him to shoot, which is exactly what playoff teams do. That inconsistency becomes a part of your opponent's game plan. Then there's the turnovers. The same playmaking instincts that make him special are the same instincts that get him into trouble. When he's running in transition, reading the floor, throwing skip passes before defenses rotate, it's beautiful basketball. But when defenses take that away and force him into half-court decision-making with a hand in his face, the reads slow down. The passes get sloppy. And that connects directly to the third problem: elite perimeter defenders. Since the All-Star break, when teams get real film on him, when scouting reports caught up, his numbers dropped noticeably, falling to 16.2 points and 4.8 rebounds during a rough stretch. The Blazers are a 7 seed. They're going to face the best defensive teams in the West with Avdija as the centerpiece. And the question isn't whether he's good enough to be on that stage. He clearly is. The question is whether he's figured out how to win when the defense has already done its homework. That answer doesn't exist yet, and that gap between a player who can take over a regular season and one who can impose his will in a playoff series, that's the last thing standing between Deni Avdija and the conversation about the best players in the league. He closed the first gap in one season. Now comes the hard one. The league counted him out. 65 players ahead of him. In just one season, he's already a top 10 player in the entire league. Someone just needed to look him in the eye and tell him to run. Washington never did. Portland did. Now Deni is just a consistent 3-ball and playmaking away from being in the MVP conversation. The question everyone had, can he actually be the guy? He answered it in one season. Now, there's only one question left. How good can he actually get?